In the scorching July of 1518, the narrow cobblestone streets of Strasbourg were gripped by a fever not one of heat or infection in the traditional sense, but a rhythmic, unstoppable madness. It began with a single woman, Frau Raffi, who stepped out of her home and began to dance. There was no music, no celebration, and no smile on her face. She danced with a grim, solitary intensity that suggested she was not the master of her own limbs. By the end of the week, 35 others had joined her. By the end of the month, the choir of the damned had swelled to 400. The dancing plague remains one of history's most baffling instances of mass psychogenic illness. As the citizens of Strasbourg watched in horror, the dancers didn't just twirl. They leapt, screamed, and writhed. Their feet grew bloody and raw within their leather shoes. Yet they could not or would not stop. Witnesses described the dancers as being in a state of trance. Their eyes rolled back or fixed on a distant, invisible horizon. This wasn't a party. It was a marathon of agony. Many eventually collapsed from sheer exhaustion, while others succumbed to heart attacks brought on by days of nonstop exertion, strokes triggered by dehydration, and severe physical trauma from the repetitive impact on their joints. The civic and religious leaders of the time were utterly out of their depth. Fearing a curse or a biological imbalance, they consulted local physicians. In a move that defies modern logic, the doctors concluded that the dancers suffered from hot blood. Their prescription: to cure the dancing. The victims simply needed to dance more. The city authorities actually opened guild halls, built a wooden stage, and hired professional musicians and strongmen to keep the afflicted upright and moving. They believed that if the dancers could just sweat out the mania, the hot blood would cool. Instead, this provided a literal stage for the hysteria to spread. The music acted as a catalyst, drawing more terrified onlookers into the rhythmic vortex. Historians and scientists have battled over the why for centuries. Some suggest the town's grain supply was contaminated with Clavisps purpurea, a mold that grows on damp prey. This fungus contains alkaloids used to synthesize LSD, while ergotism causes hallucinations and tremors. Critics argue it is unlikely people could dance for days on such a toxic substance without dying much sooner. Others point to the pressure cooker of stress. 1518 was a year of famine, crippling disease, and religious terror, in a world where people believed street Vitus could curse sinners with a dancing plague. The extreme psychological stress may have manifested as a collective, dissociative state. The madness only broke when the dancers were forcibly carted away to a shrine in the Vosges Mountains dedicated to street Vitus. There, their bloody feet were placed into red shoes, and they were led in prayer. Whether through divine intervention or the simple removal of the audience and the music, the rhythm finally died out. The dancing plague of 1518 serves as a chilling reminder of the power of the human mind to override the body. It was a moment when the social fabric of a city unraveled into a synchronized nightmare macabre ballet that proved, sometimes, the most terrifying thing in the world is our own subconscious.